Hey guys, welcome back to Jason and Joni Builds. We have a little something different for you today. We are actually going on a little road trip to do some Bronco parts swapping. I think you guys are going to like what you see when we finally make it.
Girls, y'all ready to go?
Yep.
Yeah. This gonna be fun?
Yes.
All right, let's go.
Well, we're almost to what a friend of mine called a Bronco mega honey hole. So it's a beautiful scenery as we're driving out. But we'll go meet Jimmy and his dad and show you guys some pretty cool stuff. Almost there. We made it. Great day.
This is the right place.
Man, he's got a lot of stuff to show you. I've got a few parts that I think Jimmy's going to be able to use, and he's got a bunch of stuff I need for our build, and so I'm going to kind of turn it over to him. We're just going to walk through and let him tell you about each piece that he has.
First one is this is the Bronco that I grew up riding in. My dad got it in 1993, so my mom could carry me to the hospital if it snowed or something like that. So this one's automatic. The one he had before was a 3-speed. And then when I got 16, it had just been repainted. I couldn't stand for it to go back to the woods, so we worked out a deal and I traded for it. And so this one's been mine since. I'll die with this one for sure. It means a lot. This is Dad's 66 Roadster he just traded for. This belonged to a friend of mine that passed away a couple months ago, and I think he'd be happy that it's here now. We're taking good care of it. And it's a second month production, 66 U13, still has the 170 in it. Still eyebrow grill, square cut bumpers. We've added the Whitco riser, and the seats were already recovered, so you know, we're just kind of dolling it up and preserving it, but we're driving it some, so you know, it's still in pretty good shape.
This is the eyebrow grill. I've never seen one in person. This is my first time.
And that ended somewhere in the November, December of '65 range. They stopped doing that. It's around the time that Ford actually started making their own body panels, because Bud Manufacturing made them for a while. That's cool.
So mine, that was one thing I think was not. I was thinking, hoping mine would have it, and it did not.
Yeah, actually the one JD had also doesn't have it. So this is a Peacock Blue 68 U13. This is actually one of 212 made. This is the second one we have here. This we found in East Tennessee. You know, I have a 66 Roadster. This is before the green one, obviously. And Dad decided he wanted a Roadster, so I started looking for one. Well, lo and behold, I found a 68. So it came home, and right now we've started gathering NOS parts for an NOS mostly build on this one. So that's why we haven't made any progress on it. Here we have a, this is a, what I call wind blue 76. I nicknamed it Timber because a tree fell on it, and that's why the front end got crushed. So it's actually a pretty solid truck. It's uncut steel. It's a 76 Ford. Power steering, power disc brakes, all the 76 goodies. It'll be just kind of a driver project. It's not going to be just meticulous, but it's in good enough shape to fix pretty easy. So later down the road, this one will be back on the road. All right, so this is the second 68 U13 we have. This is another 68 Roadster, one of 212. This is actually the third Bronco used during filming of Green Acres. It was found in a barn in West Alabama, and I'd heard the story for probably 10-15 years that this Bronco was in Alabama, one of the old Green Acres Broncos. Well, it turns out it was true, and we were fortunate enough to buy it and bring it here, and we do have paperwork that pretty much sums up and confirms that this is the one, because it was the only one ever made with all the same exact options as the one on the show. And you know, this is one of the next ones we're going to tear into. It runs and drives. You know, we're real excited about this one. Glad to have this one. And that's kind of what I look for. I look for ones like this, just because, you know, I love the history. Yeah. I used to have people come ask me, you know, hey, have you ever seen Green Acres? Yeah. I have. This is a 67 military Bronco. It was originally used by either the Army or the Marines. I haven't confirmed which branch yet, but it'll be one of the two. And then later in its life, it was sold to a police department in Roadster, North Carolina, and later to Glen Alpine. And then they did the decals with the reflectives. And oddly enough, I've known this Bronco for 10, 11 years or so. It was auctioned off in 2014 and went to South Texas. And a friend of mine, who is a truck driver, spotted it on the side of the highway. It had just been pulled out, so it felt like it was my time. It was the right time, so it came here. But Greenlight Diecast actually modeled a toy Bronco after this very Bronco when it was auctioned off 6 years ago. And we have a couple there, those there in the windshield.
That's cool.
It really is.
And we actually took this Bronco to Bronco Super Celebration this year, and it got an award, as you can probably see in the seat there. Oddly enough, I've only seen one V8 military Bronco ever.
Okay.
Oddly enough.
Yeah.
And I didn't believe that at first.
Right.
Let them know it's meditation and get that plate off the dash and all of a sudden.
Well, this, that too. Have here in my 67 military. This is also a 67 military Bronco. This was, believe it or not, bought locally. One thing about the military Broncos some people may not know is these headlight guards are actually factory to the military Broncos. When Ford built these for the four branches of the military in 1967, these were standard issue, as well as the back bumper you can see on the police one and this one. Those are standard issue bumpers for the military trucks. You can see the shore power hook up there on the left, and then this is where typically you find a pintle hook or a receiver hitch. But this Bronco was also used by the Talladega Alabama Rescue Squad, and that's why it's now white. It was originally military green also, and that's why it has the beacon light on top. It was used by their town. I was told by someone from the area that they used it mainly to pull boats to the lake when they had to search the lake or something of that nature. But I've had this one for a while now, recovered the seats and did some things to it, but I really just kind of want to preserve it, and I've really enjoyed owning that one.
Patina is priceless. Really.
I think it sat outside for a while.
To me, it's just, it just shows that it has history and that it's lived and it's had a life all of its own. And that power hookup, that was just like what we would have today, a trailer hookup or whatever.
For the military. There in the center of the dash, your military Broncos would have had that. As you can see, half cab tops are really hard to find.
Because
But-
Jimmy has them on.
Because they're
Yeah.
all here.
But you know, I've collected some original Roadster soft top parts and soft doors also. I pretty much buy every set of that I can find just about. But we like half cabs, as you can tell, and we've gathered some doors, some hoods, a few body panels, things like that for future builds, and just if we ever decide to change one over from a full top, we've got them here. So I'm glad to have them. I'll bring you guys in the climate control room here. We got a couple in here. We got a project and our body off build we completed a while back in here. Here we got a 73 we converted to a half cab. It's a body off build we completed a couple years ago, and we've carried it to some shows and enjoyed it. But we just try to keep it clean, keep it tucked away and safe until it's out for its next journey. So this is got an 89 roller motor in it. It's basically an old school style build with a lot of chrome.
It's gorgeous.
The thing about our Bronco parts vendors like Bronco Graveyard, Tom's Bronco Parts, Wild Horses, Northeast Classic Ford Parts, you know, we used almost everyone on this build. And, you know, without all them, this wouldn't look like this. There's no way. So I'm grateful to all those four especially, and Dennis Carpenter as well. Forgot to mention them. But if it hadn't been for all those vendors, this would not look this good.
Well, I know the video is not going to do it justice, but this is just complete eye candy, y'all.
I've got my 66 U13 here. This is also a September build like the green 66 of Dad's out there. I've had it painted. Same guy painted this that painted the black half cab. So he did a good job on it. I just haven't got around to putting it back together yet, but it's ready to go back together almost. I've got to, of course, touch up the frame and things like that. But you know, it's a real solid Bronco to start with. 14,000 original miles. I bought it from a friend in Indiana, and he bought it out of Oklahoma, where it had stayed in the same family as the original dealership in Cincinnati. So this is another one that I'm fortunate to own, and I'm glad to have. And this one actually has something pretty uncommon on it. Instead of lockout hubs, it has drive flanges. That was actually available in 66 to have drive flanges rather than lockout hubs.
That's cool.
It is a radio delete. It actually did not come with a radio, which this is a convenience package Bronco they called it, or bright accessory package. It had chrome bumpers, it had chrome taillight surrounds, but it did not have a radio. So that's why the dash is blank there. There's no speaker in the dash. It's just the bare grill. And that is an original paint dash that I couldn't bring myself to repaint. Alright, this is a 70. We actually bought it 7 miles from here. It was in the same family from 1978 until 2018. And you know, when I was a kid, I'd be riding in that blue half cab with Dad, and I'd say, "Hey, why don't you stop and ask them if they want to sell it?" He'd always tell me, "No, they ain't gonna sell it." And he was right. Unfortunately, the owner passed away, and his son, who I became friends with through this process, contacted me and told me that he was thinking about selling it, and he kind of wanted it to stay around local. And so we ended up buying it. and we did quite a bit of work to it, to the drivetrain, but we pretty much left the outside alone. And as you can see, it's dirty because I drive the wheels off of it. This is my favorite one to drive. I love driving this one for some reason, but I guess it's kind of sentimental because I've known it my whole life. But it's an old school Alabama hunting truck. You can see the old gun racks in it, the old Alabama wildlife stickers. I've pretty much just preserved the way it looked. So this is a 76 Ranger. This is Dad's driver. He drives this one a lot. This was actually purchased from the nurse where he worked at. She had it for several years, and anytime we'd go look at one in about this condition or about the value range, he'd say, "Oh, if I was going to buy that one, I'd just go buy that black one from the nurse." And I said, well, finally started telling him, "Why don't you go buy it then? I know you want it." So he finally decided he wanted it, I guess, and here it is. He bought it, and we've done a few things to it. I painted the center of the grill back to the original Argent color. We added chrome bumpers, new parking lamps and headlight rings. Just a few little drivetrain things, and that's about it. I mean, it's the same paint that was on it when it came here, so we just basically kept it up and preserved it.
I like this one.
You're welcome to open it up. Whenever you can see, Bronco Rangers had this houndstooth door inserts, and the seats originally would have had it too. And it has the rear panels.
That white face speedometer, is that original?
Now somebody put that in there years ago, and I really wish they wouldn't have, because now I don't know if that's original miles or not.
Right.
I don't know if they put a different speedometer in it or if they used the original. As you can tell, this is the working shop. It's extremely cluttered and dirty in here, but this is also part storage too. This is a 75 that I nicknamed Peanut because we bought it off a guy we call Peanut. This is a local Bronco I've known since I was a kid also. Dad used to buy and sell parts for this guy. And this Bronco actually caught on fire one morning while he was getting ready to go hunting. And he kept it for a while. They wired it up enough to get it running. And then finally he decided to go ahead and sell it. Dad was the first one he called. So Dad bought this, and we're turning it into another hunting truck. We're in the process of doing a 2001 Mountaineer EFI swap. It'll have a C4 automatic in it, twin sticks, the drivetrain's 411 with a new Grizzly locker rear. It's got a little bit of a lift, about a 3.5 inch lift with 33 inch swampers. So this is just going to be a woods truck. It's not going to be anything pretty, but hopefully performance wise it's ready to go. As you can see, I've got the front clip in primer because that's the area that was hurt by the fire. That's all that's going to be painted. The rest of it's going to be the same. That way we don't have to worry about scratches, dents, or etc.
Whole firewall, that EFI?
Yeah, I cut the hole in the firewall for the Explorer computer to mount in, and actually early to mid 2000s escape box will come right out of the escape. They're not glued in, and it will fit right in there, and you can tap it out to where you can bolt it from the inside. So, which I can show you that. If anyone considers doing the Explorer swap, this escape box is perfect. Slide right in the firewall, and you can tap it out to where you can bolt it in from the inside, and it'll stay in place. So, this is a 67. It's originally holly green. This one I bought for my wife. We're going to do it for her. It's got a 302 in it now. It actually was originally a 289. I'm going to build a 289 and put it back in it. Unfortunately, it's outside right now because we've done some trading, and to shuffle everything around and get everything situated, this one had to come back out. So, one thing that's pretty cool is this being an early 67, it has the 7 holes in the core support. A lot of early 67s had these holes in the core support for some unknown reason. But they're there. That's one of several I've seen like that. But someone's put an automatic in it, someone's put power steering on it, so they did me a favor there. But I like that brush paint job.
Yeah.
Looks like someone went to Sherwin-Williams. And this is the early tailgate everyone calls the 66 tailgate. Well, actually, early 67s had it also. Where this has the little level change instead of the ridge that goes across.
And that's one of the things I brought Jimmy today.
Yep. And then the 60, what everybody calls the 66 liftgate, where the handle's here and the lock is here. Early 67s had that also. The tops are different. A lot of people don't know the tops have an extra hole in this back corner in 66 and 7 from the inside. So there's something different every single year they made the early Bronco. Every single year.
You'd think that would get tiresome for Ford and the engineers to constantly retool and
I know it.
and all that mess.
I mean, every single year. I mean, it may be something simple as in 71 they put holes in the headlight rings for adjusters.
Right.
I mean,
Or
The
door
keyhole.
The
Yeah.
keyhole. Actually, the information I got was from Jimmy, guys. That my keyholes were, I had 2 brand new doors. I had one in one location, one in another, and I was like, which one's right? So Jimmy was the one that straightened me out on all that.
so 66 and 7s, like he's talking about, yeah, they had a different keyhole location because in 67 is the year they introduced the belt line trim that came across the tailgate and around down the sides. In order to clear that, they moved it from the 66 location higher to for the 67 and moved it higher right underneath the door handle. On 68, they lowered it back down to almost the center of the door. So, rare moment, I actually have one for sale here. This is a 76 parts truck. I do have a title for this, a Tennessee title. The top is not included. That is actually the original top for one of mine. But it's got a 351 Windsor. It's got a C4 automatic, Dana 20 transfer case, 9-inch rear, 44 front, of course. The disc brake parts are gone. I'm going to ask $3,000 for it. The motor does turn freely. So if anybody's looking for a project frame or a parts truck, here's a good one.
And the good thing is it's got a title.
It does
So-
have a title.
Right, and that's hard for a lot of these old things.
Right. And like in Alabama, you know, you don't need a title.
Right.
So,
But there are, I've been to several states where they won't even talk to you if you don't have one.
correct. Correct.
But the nirvana just goes on forever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, have you seen, has Joni seen any with a bucket seat? I mean,
Bench seat?
with a bench, I mean?
No, this is our only one with a bench seat in it, actually. So we're actually out here in the boneyard. This is where all the parts trucks are. This is a 69 that came from West Virginia. It's a 302 bench seat truck. One thing that's not very common to see is a full top with a bench seat and a bulkhead. This is what we nicknamed the delivery model. It's actually got a bulkhead with no holes for a half cab and a bench seat. That usually you didn't see after 71, but it's pretty uncommon to see today.
Yeah, that's neat, because that's one of the statements I made that I was incorrect when we first started filming, because I had a bulkhead, and mine, the one that we're building, is a U14, and I figured only U14s had a bulkhead, and I was corrected quite quickly.
Actually, all 3 models, 13, 14, and 15,
Yeah.
you could have them. And
That's
you
neat.
can Yes, they've engraved it.
Somebody
I wonder if that's a Harley Davidson cap. Because it's HD.
Yeah. Again, it just goes back to the life these things had at some point.
You know what's funny? Yeah. What's funny is I wouldn't even have this one if Duff's wouldn't have had their open house when they did a couple years ago. Because we went to Duff's open house, and this thing was in West Virginia, and I thought, well, flip, we're already part of the way there. I said, for $500, I'm going to get it. So, I've been sitting on the ground because I had to borrow the wheels for another one, but. It's gonna have to be a donor. I ain't got a choice.
Gonna do what?
It's gonna have to be a donor.
I don't. Really?
It's gonna have to be. Because we need a 289. Need a front clip. It's got a solid front clip. The back half's rotten.
Right.
So it's got to be clipped.
Right.
But from here up is perfect.
Right.
From there back is gone. And this 68 from here up.
All right. Well, appreciate you guys hanging out with us, and I'm glad we were able to show Jimmy and his dad's awesome collection out here. We've kept them all day long, and I feel like we could stay here another few hours. And it's just they've been more than helpful. I got all the parts I need to continue moving forward on our Bronco. But you know, I hope we haven't troubled you too much.
Not at all. Not at all. Anytime.
But anyways, you know, if you ever need anything, got questions, you know,
Reach out to me if anyone has questions or needs help.
yeah, we'll get you in touch, because this guy's got the knowledge. I don't want to burden him with a whole lot, but he's a wealth of knowledge. You know, both these men are, and I appreciate their help. But thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you soon on the next. Y'all take care.